When Love Turns Deadly, the story of a fatal affair. The conviction of Maya Thompson shocked everyone who followed the case. In a legal system that normally drags on for months or even years, her trial wrapped up in less than 2 weeks. No public hearings, no open courtroom drama. Instead, a sealed plea deal, its details hidden from the public eye, sealed her fate behind closed doors. News outlets called it unprecedented. Experts in law and justice openly questioned how such a serious and complex case could be resolved so rapidly, without transparency or due process. When a murder trial is conducted in near secrecy, the court of public opinion grows uneasy, said one legal analyst. It's a red flag that demands scrutiny. The community was left to ask, why was Maya's case treated so differently? What lay behind the curtain of this fast-track conviction? As the dust settled and the headlines faded, a deeper story began to emerge. One that questioned everything the public thought they knew about the perfect couple and the tragic crime that destroyed their lives. Julian and Maya had long been admired by those around them. They were the kind of couple people envied, accomplished, well-dressed, and picture-perfect in every way. Social media pages showed smiling photos of anniversaries, vacations, and family gatherings. Friends recalled their generosity and charm. To many, they embodied the ideal partnership. But behind the glossy images, the reality was more complicated. Close friends and family began to reveal subtle tensions that had long simmered beneath the surface. One longtime friend shared, "You'd see them laughing at parties, but there were nights when Julian looked distant, like he was carrying a heavy secret. Maya tried to keep it together, but sometimes I caught her staring out the window, lost in thought." There were whispers of whispered arguments late at night, abrupt phone calls Julian tried to conceal, and moments when Maya seemed anxious, even fearful. The pressure to maintain a flawless life began to weigh on them, and cracks started to show. These fragments of a fractured relationship would soon become the backdrop to a violent and shocking event that no one saw coming. The discovery of Julian's body sent shockwaves through the quiet neighborhood. Police were called to the scene late one evening after Maya, hysterical and frantic, dialed emergency services. At the apartment, the atmosphere was tense and chaotic. Forensic teams combed through the evidence, blood spattered on the walls, signs of struggle, and a knife left behind, believed to be the murder weapon. Neighbors reported hearing a loud, angry confrontation earlier that day. Maya's presence at the scene, combined with her emotional breakdown, made her the prime suspect in the eyes of investigators. The evidence seemed overwhelming. Fingerprints on the weapon matching Maya's, inconsistent statements, and the emotional motive that was quickly constructed by the prosecution. Yet, some began to question whether this narrative was too neat, too simple to explain a complex tragedy. Maya's arrest marked the beginning of a grueling ordeal. She was taken to the police station and subjected to hours of intense questioning, exhausted, frightened, and alone. Legal experts later criticized the way her interrogation was handled. Reports suggested she was denied timely access to a lawyer and was subjected to aggressive questioning tactics designed to break her down emotionally. The confession she eventually gave raised more questions than answers. Handwriting experts testified that parts of the confession did not match Maya's handwriting. Some phrases appeared to be scripted, echoing the words investigators had suggested. Confessions obtained under duress cannot be trusted, said a criminal psychologist. They reflect not truth, but survival, what the suspect believes the interrogators want to hear. Despite these red flags, the prosecution pressed forward, relying heavily on this confession and disregarding inconsistencies in the timeline and other evidence. But cracks in the official story soon began to appear, small details that didn't fit the neat timeline or the prosecution's version of events. One of the most puzzling was the security footage from the apartment complex. Grainy and hard to decipher. The footage showed a shadowy figure lingering near Julian's door late the night of the murder. Someone no one could identify. Despite the obvious importance of this footage, investigators dismissed it as irrelevant. It was set aside with little explanation, a baffling decision that raised eyebrows among independent observers. Neighbors recalled strange noises, footsteps in the hallway at odd hours, and voices that didn't match Maya's or Julian's. One neighbor even reported seeing a suspicious person leaving the building shortly after the estimated time of death. Forensic reports added to the mystery. Unidentified fingerprints on the murder weapon that did not belong to Maya or Julian. DNA samples from the scene contained unknown profiles. Even the official time of death was inconsistent across medical reports. Yet, none of this was fully pursued in court. The tunnel vision on Maya's guilt seemed to blind the investigation to alternative possibilities. Meanwhile, Maya's family and supporters rallied, demanding a thorough review of the evidence. They hired private investigators who uncovered alarming signs of potential coercion, mishandling of evidence, and procedural lapses. Months after the conviction, a breakthrough emerged, one that would forever change the course of the case. A private investigator working on behalf of Maya's family uncovered hidden messages on Julian's burner phones, encrypted conversations, coded texts, and mysterious call logs that pointed to a secret life Julian had concealed even from Maya. These communications revealed clandestine meetings with a man whose identity remained shadowy, but whose influence over Julian was undeniable. Hints of illegal dealings, debts, and dangerous liaisons painted a picture of a man caught in a web of secrets far darker than anyone had imagined. Maya maintained she had no knowledge of this double life. This revelation cast her not as a jealous or violent wife, but as a woman blindsided by betrayal and caught in the crossfire of forces beyond her control. Interviews with friends and acquaintances who knew Julian only superficially confirmed the double life theory. He was always so guarded about his phone and where he went, one friend said. It was like he was living two separate lives. Putting the pieces together, the puzzle revealed a chilling conclusion. The shadowy figure in the security footage, the sealed plea deal, the ignored evidence, all pointed to a carefully orchestrated frame-up. Julian's dangerous associate had the motive, means, and opportunity to commit the murder and shift suspicion onto Maya. Legal experts reviewing the case concluded that powerful interests influenced the investigation to quickly close the case, protecting hidden players and silencing inconvenient truths. Maya's conviction, they argued, was a miscarriage of justice. An innocent woman made the scapegoat for a crime engineered by others. The question that remains haunting is whether the true culprits will ever face the consequences of their actions, or if Maya's story will be yet another tragedy buried beneath layers of deception. As the courtroom doors closed and the media spotlight faded, Maya's story continues to echo in the shadows, an urgent reminder to question the narratives presented, to seek truth beyond appearances, and to fight for justice no matter how deeply it is buried. In the end, the truth is rarely simple. It is a tangled web of secrets, lies, and betrayals. And sometimes, when love turns deadly, the real victim is the truth itself. Justice delayed is justice denied. Remember Maya, remember Julian, and remember, always question the stories you're told.